Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. We are continuing our bakery series, episode 3 now, coffee and walnut cake. It is a classic, but I'm going to meddle. I'm going to show you how to make a delicious coffee and walnut cake. We're going to put butter icing on it, but we're going to do brown butter icing. So we're going to caramelize the butter and bring a lovely flavour out into it, fold it into the buttercream, and then my famous honey walnuts with sea salt and a little bit of fresh thyme. Basically, we're taking a good old coffee and walnut cake and raising the bar even more. But let's get started. So, 250 grams of room temperature butter. You could use margarine as well if you prefer, absolutely fine. Then I have got 125 grams of caster sugar, 125 grams of soft brown sugar. So we're kind of going for a blend this time, get a little bit more flavour going in there. In with the mixer and blend and cream it together until you stop hearing that sort of scratching sound, because that's the sugar. And we basically need to amalgamate the fat and the sugar together.
Why do you split the two sugars?
Well, I'm trying to get that nice sort of caramelly flavour to come through in the cake. And I always find if you use all brown sugar, it becomes a bit too dark. Whereas if you use a blend, you get a really nice blend, a light caramelly flavoured cake. Sometimes it just gets a little bit too bitter. So, we might as well get going with our eggs. So 4 room temperature eggs, 1 at a time, okay? Blend them through. Don't add the second egg until it's fully incorporated. By the time this series is over, if you can't make a good sponge cake, then I have failed you. Okay? So in with the next one. Everyone should be able to make a sponge, shouldn't they?
Absolutely. Whether it be the creaming method or the all-in-one.
My method. There we go. 4 eggs in. Now, I've got 250 grams of self-raising flour. Now, we have people watching from all over the world, and not everyone has self-raising flour. And I often get asked the question, what's self-raising flour? How do I make it? Carlos has very kindly created us a little recipe that will be going down the side right now that tells you how to make self-raising flour out of all-purpose flour and baking powder. So thank you, Carlos. In it goes. And then just on a slow speed, you don't want to work the flour too much. We're going to incorporate it into the mixture. Okay. Now, we get to add our coffee. Now, I'm very lucky. One of my neighbours is Dark House Roast, an amazing little artisan roaster in Keswick. Jury does a great job. In with a little coffee. You could use instant coffee if you want, just add a bit of water to it, but make it nice and strong. You don't want to be adding loads of liquid, but you do want to be adding the flavour, which is why we sort of go for espresso or espresso strength coffee. Do not use camp coffee flavouring. It's wrong on many, many levels. Have you heard of that, Emily? Do you know what camp is?
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's made out of chicory wood,
Yeah,
I think,
I know, yeah.
and it's got this
I feel
weird...
like you've told me this before.
Yeah, I mean, many of, my parents and grandparents would have used it to drink coffee. Ugh, it's terrible. But it was always very popular for cakes, especially a coffee and walnut cake. I have got my vertical stand storage bakeware for my round, okay? Super non-stick, vertically stores in the back of the cupboard, brilliant. Okay, let's get a scoop and let's get this into the oven. Nice and simple, a nice deep coffee flavoured cake. We're not sandwiching it together, everything's going on the top so that you can see what an amazing coffee and walnut cake it is, okay? This is going straight into the oven, 170 degrees. It will bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. In it goes. That's it. That's that bit done. Now, the bit that's different, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to make a brown butter icing. So we're going to take our butter and we're going to caramelize it, okay? So I've got 50 grams of butter in there. And when you caramelize brown butter, it's the milk solids that are caramelizing. So it got my little brain thinking, how can I bring that through into a butter icing and really elevate it to the next level? Okay, so what I thought in my little head was, milk solids, milk, no, that won't caramelize because that's wet. Milk powder, that's all right. Couldn't find milk powder anywhere. I went for custard powder because custard powder is basically vanilla, eggs and milk powder, isn't it?
Yeah.
So all I'm going to do is add some custard powder to my melted butter, caramelize it. Now I've made some already, but let me show you how I made it. It is a flavour bomb to add to your butter icing. This is a game changer. If you're in Bake Off and you need a few tips to wow Mr. Hollywood and Prue Leith, burnt butter icing. Lovely. Right, it's important you get your butter bubbling, and just at that foaming point is when you add the custard powder, okay? So what do you think of this, Emily? What's going through your head on this one?
I'm intrigued.
You're intrigued, aren't you?
See, to me, burnt is burnt.
Well, brown butter.
But like, I think it'll give a nice colour as well.
See how it's now starting to foam up? Let's add our custard powder in.
I think when people see it with like brown butter, they think that it's gone too far. So it's going to be good to see that it's actually
so we're going to add, about an equal amount. So 50 grams of butter, 50 grams of custard powder. If you've got milk powder, good for you. I couldn't get any. But you see how it starts and it's like that sort of yellowy, sort of custardy colour?
Yeah.
We now need to just cook this until it's like amber, till it's caramelised, okay? And this is something that you can keep in the fridge and make and use and take it out whenever you need it, all right? You see how it's starting to change colour?
Yeah.
It's quite quick, so you need to keep your eye on it. It's not a job to sort of come back to. Keep your eye on it all the time. Because we're going to add our cream in a minute. If I can find it, here it is.
And if you do let it go too far, does it just go bitter?
Yeah, it's going to taste burnt instead of caramelised.
It's got to be, but yeah.
Yeah. So once it starts to change, you see how it's just starting to cook out now. Can you see how it's cooking?
Oh, yeah.
Right, now it's that golden colour, we're going to add our cream. And then we're just going to boil it until it goes from like cream with chunks of caramelised butter in until it becomes a nice golden sort of, almost like a caramel really.
Does it all of a sudden just come together?
Yeah, it just comes together. You just got to be really patient and just let it melt and cook through. And it doesn't look much, but through butter icing, it is incredible. So what I'll do is I'll just keep stirring this and I'm going to leave it to one side and I'll show you the one that I've already made. So it's cooled down and it's ready to go. So that is our brown butter cream, which we'll add to to a simple buttercream. It's 2 parts icing sugar, 1 part room temperature butter. And then we add it in. So I'm going to add about half of that into there. And it's just going to give that sort of subtle caramelized kind of flavour to it. Get a whisk in so that we can disperse it through. And you're going to want to try this, aren't you, Emily?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think so, do you? Right. Here you go. Have a little taste now. Your first taste. Oh, she's going around this way. Your first taste of brown butter icing. Maybe we'll add a little bit more. What do you think?
It's like fudge.
Is that?
Tastes like fudge. It's got like the soft.
Which with coffee,
Yeah.
it's going to be amazing,
I
isn't
don't
it?
like buttercream, but that is delicious.
You're not?
I'm not a massive fan. I don't really like it. But
A
if that was,
cake baker that doesn't like buttercream.
if that could be on top of every cake, I'd eat it.
Right, so let's get our attention over to walnuts, okay? So we need crunch now. I've got my butter icing to one side. Now, California walnuts are the ones that I use. They're delicious in my opinion, but they need roasting to make them absolutely delicious. So into a dry pan, a little drizzle of olive oil to help them sort of go golden and crisp. Give that a little stir round. There we go. And that's on a medium heat, okay? Got our honey ready. And then we're going to add some thyme, just to give a bit of fragrance. And then sea salt. And these ingredients here are going to make these walnuts sing. They're going to be absolutely delicious. Golden, roasted, nutty, sweet, salty. They'll be perfect for our cake. So we'll let those roast off for a minute. Now, I've got a coffee cake that I've made earlier, ready to go. All right. And I've got my butter icing. All we need now is our walnuts. So if you have any questions at all about today's recipes, please do post them in the comments below. And if you would like to win some tickets to this year's BBC Good Food Show in November at the NEC in Birmingham, comment, like and share, and I will enter you into competition. Both myself and Masterclass are going to be at the show. We're going to be cooking, we're going to be chatting. You can see all the equipment that these guys have. Get your hands on it and really see what it's all about. I'll be cooking with it and I'll be there. So if you fancy winning some tickets, like, comment and share and get yourself into the draw. Okay, so the nuts are just cooking nicely. After they've cooked there for about 5 minutes, honey, okay? Not like your most expensive Manuka honey, just a fairly standard generic honey. Give it a good toss, turn it over. I like to just put my thyme in as is, and when you hear it crackling, that's when it's giving out its flavour to you, okay? So we'll listen for it to start to crackle. I've got my sea salt ready.
I don't think they'd make it to the pan to the cake if I was
They
making
make
it.
an amazing snack. They are so good. There you go. Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Come on. Let's get our butter icing on top. Look at that.
Just pull the cake towards you a little bit, Peter, so we can see the full top. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Can you hear that?
Like bubble wrap.
Yeah. That's the thyme just sort of giving out. Plenty of sea salt. Because you want to contrast with this honey that's in there. So you don't want them to be really sweet. You want them to be a little bit sweet, a little bit salty. Okay? And that'll do. That's them done. Take them off the heat and leave them, because walnuts will catch really quickly if you just turn the heat off and leave them there to cool themselves. They'll end up burning, okay? So, and what I would always suggest is roast more than you need, cool them completely, and then keep them in a jar for a rainy day. And then you've got them, you can use them in all kinds of things. Chocolate chip cookies, on these cakes, even as just a snack with a glass of wine on a Friday after a busy week is absolutely perfect. So, let's just ice this cake. Stop watching me, Emily. I'm going for rustic, not beautiful.
Rustic is beautiful.
Yeah. There we go. And then I'm going to take some of these walnuts, and they're all glistened. Oh man, they are so good. So good. This is taking a classic and raising it to the next level. It's a masterclass, if I pardon the phrase, in coffee and walnut cakes, this one. What's the competition bit in Bake Off called, Emily? You watch it, I don't. Star Baker, yes, or Technical Challenge or something, isn't
challenges,
it? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
There you go. That is a proper coffee and walnut cake. If you want the recipe, scan the QR code along the bottom. It'll take you to masterclass.co. You will get it there. You can also download my app, Peter Sidwell's Kitchen now, and all our programs and all our recipes are within the app so that you can get them there as well. But thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next recipe. Right, it's time for a British classic, ginger snap biscuits. They are absolutely British through to the core. And to make them is really easy, and I thought I would share that with you. So, I've got some softened room temperature butter and just some granulated sugar. Not a huge amount. If you want the recipe, scan the QR code along the bottom and it will take you straight to masterclass.co, and all my recipes are on there. So we're going to beat this together. Just get that sugar amalgamated and dissolved into the fats. I think it's quite important that you use butter on this recipe as well, because when you cool the dough down, you want that butter to firm up. If you use margarine, it doesn't really firm up very well. Right. Okay, that'll do for 1 second. Right, dry ingredients, wholemeal flour, okay? For this recipe, it is wholemeal. We've got half a teaspoon of bicarb and 2 teaspoons of baking powder in there. And then 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and then 3 teaspoons of ground ginger, so that you get that kind of heat, you know, you get from a ginger biscuit. The whole point is it's all about ginger, so don't scrimp on it. And the cinnamon just kind of brings it all together and gives it a bit more depth of flavour. Okay, so we'll just mix that together. And then I've just got a couple more ingredients. So we've got 1.5 tablespoons of golden syrup. And then I've got some preserved ginger for more ginger flavour. And we're actually just going to grate it in, because I think it's the best way to get it in. And it's going to go into my butter and sugar mixture. Can we see that all right, Emily?
We can.
Like a ginger snap?
I do. I'm very partial to one or three with a butter.
And is it always bought ones?
Yeah, because it's never been something that I've actually thought.
Have you not thought about making them before?
Yeah, it's a good point actually.
Do you know what I like? I like them dipped half in dark chocolate.
Oh.
Cheeky.
Oh yeah.
I might have to dip some after we've done this.
Yeah.
You lot can go home and I can dip these in chocolate.
And save me some for tomorrow.
Yeah. So, I've actually seen this on a technical challenge as well on Bake Off, I think, if I remember rightly. I remember somebody asking me about it. I'll be honest, I don't watch Bake Off, but I know a lot of people do. And it's on soon, isn't it?
Yep.
So, I always know, once you get the summer out of the way, it's Bake Off season, and then before you know it, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it? Okay, so, I've got my candied ginger.
If you can't get candied ginger, what would you?
I wouldn't add it, to be honest. I would just leave it. It's a second dimension of flavour. It'd be okay without it. Or you can buy ginger, peel it, cut it in slices, and boil it in stock syrup. And stock syrup is an equal amount of water and sugar. So 500 mils of sugar, 500 mils of water, equal. And then boil it until it's really soft and tender, and then you've got it. And it is delicious. And in terms of adding it to your baking and really ramping up the flavour, it's good for that. But it's quite easy to get hold of, so you shouldn't have any trouble. Right, so in that goes. Then we add our golden syrup. You could add maple syrup if you can't get golden.
Any questions?
No, sorry. Give that a good mix through. And then in with our mix of wholemeal flour and bicarb baking powder, cinnamon and ground ginger. So now we've got a dough to form. And I think the best ginger biscuits are done is if you chill the mixture down either overnight or for a couple of hours and let that butter firm back up again. And you get a much better biscuit. Unfortunately, you've got to wait a bit longer, but you know, if you want the good ones, sometimes you've got to wait. So we have got our simple dough here. What is good about this is you can roll this into balls, chuck them in the fridge and let them set, or put them in the freezer and just get them out when you want them and cook them from frozen, and they only take about 5 more minutes from frozen, maybe 10. So pop that into the fridge and then I'll get one that I've made earlier. Okay, so there we go. Let's just get a little bit of warm water from the kettle. And then I've got an ice cream scoop. I'm just going to dip it in there, and I'm just going to take a level spoon. So, out of sheer curiosity for you guys, where's my scales? My scales are here. Let's weigh this portion out, and then you'll know exactly how many you're going to get. So all I've done is 33 grams. And then roll it into a ball and pop it on there. So dip it in the boiling water and then take a scoop, weigh it, 33, exactly the same. I'm getting better.
You are?
I've been professionally criticised on my judgments, on my weighing by a certain someone. When you weigh things out as well, it means that your baking times are consistent and your bake is consistent. So if you are doing a technical challenge, or it is, you know, that is how to make sure you get a really nice even bake, is by weighing out and making sure that they are all the same size. I'm just going to pop those down. They're not big spreaders, these biscuits, either. They will flatten out. Now, if you want the recipe, scan the QR code along the bottom, and please comment, like and share on this video, and that will enter you into competition, and you could win some tickets to BBC Good Food Show and pop down to the NEC and see me this year, because myself and Masterclass will be there. We will have a live stage, big stage there. You'll be able to get your hands on all the equipment. Come down and say hello, see what we're up to. But the only way to win those tickets is to like, comment and share. That will put you into a draw. And I will message you direct and let you know if you have won. And the lovely people at Kitchen Craft, will send you some tickets and I'll see you there. Right. They are ready for the oven. So I have got 8 out of that mixture at 33 grams each. They are going to go into the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes until they are golden, crisp and bubbling. Then it's time to put the kettle on. The ginger snap biscuits are ready, and I'll tell you what, my kitchen smells amazing. It's that kind of spicy, sweet ginger sugary smell. Oh, so good. The kettle needs to go on. But you can see as they bake, they crackle. You couldn't ask for a more British biscuit. Emily, you're going to want one of these.
Oh, no.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Absolutely delicious. If you want the recipe, scan the QR code along the bottom. It'll take you straight to masterclass.co. You can find all my recipes there. Oh, I've got such a nice gingery, just tingle right here. But thank you very much for watching, and please remember, so if you want the recipe, scan the QR code along the bottom. It'll take you straight to masterclass.co. All my recipes are there for this bakery series and the past 80 episodes now, so there is loads for you to get stuck into. But don't forget, comment, like and share on this video. Enter you into the competition to win 5 pairs of tickets for BBC Good Food Show. I'll be there, Masterclass will be there. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon.